Hi, I'm Saddlebass, and you're listening to the Horns Over Hoops podcast, a Fans First Sport Network affiliate. What's good, Bulls fans and Horniacs, and welcome back to a special All-Star bonus edition of the Horns Over Hoops podcast. We are your hosts, Sal Bass, Scott Berman, and Dan Gracie. Fellas, before we get into this episode, let's take a second to admire Scott's head right now. Now, I know the listeners can't see what's going on right now, but Scott, tell the listeners what you're sporting on your beautiful head there.
Actually, I haven't had a haircut in a while, so I think that's what it is. It's just that. No, we finally got our merchandise store up, so I had to buy the HornsOverHoops trucker hat, so rocking that now.
Yes, sir. We got hoodies, we got baseball tees, we got water bottles. Sal, what else we got? We got anything you could think of.
Some dumbass shit, too.
Yeah, we had some pretty cool stuff in there. Yeah, but like Scott mentioned, we just opened our merchandise store via Fourth Wall. You can find it at the URL denzelrange.com, and what an excellent URL that is. Go on there, check out some cool stuff, and use promo code HORNS20 to save 20% on all your purchases. Scott, did you use HORNS20?
Actually, I did not.
Full price.
You did not?
I did not use it. I paid full price. Yeah.
You paid full price like a true fan. There you go.
I gave myself money.
So in a way, it's kind of like a promotion for ourselves.
Yeah. Like I mentioned earlier, this is the All-Star wrap-up bonus edition to the cast. So after watching the All-Star game, we all decided to come together and discuss our thoughts on it, what we liked, what we didn't like, and what could be done better. So, guys, right before we get into it, what are your thoughts on the All-Star game, Scott?
It's a useless weekend, at least in the current format. I didn't even watch the game. I did watch most of the Saturday, didn't watch any of the Friday of the whatever they did. I think it was the celebrity game. I don't know. Some of the players said, it's a vacation. It's a rest weekend. No one's there to actually care anymore. Ever since Kobe retired, no one cares.
Yeah, it's starting to become like that, like the Pro Bowl, like the NFL's Pro Bowl. Dan, care to fill the listeners in on your thoughts about the All-Star game? What did you think of it?
So I don't have much to say about the All-Star game simply because I didn't watch a minute of the entire All-Star weekend because in the past they've been bad. The three-point contest has been pretty good, but other than that, like it's just been straight trash. And it sounds like, from what I've been hearing from other podcasts and everything else, it sounds like I made the right call.
Yeah, you sure did. I watched a little bit on Saturday. I watched the entire All-Star game from start to finish, as terrible of a game as it was. The Friday festivities really never draw me in. That's like the skills challenge and the celebrity game. The celebrity game has been good before, but this year it really didn't do anything for me. I was more of a dunk contest and a three-point contest fan myself. And I'll be honest with you, I hardly ever really watch the All-Star game just because nobody plays defense, nobody tries. It's just a bunch of people jacking up three-pointers or shooting ridiculous shots. Oh, and guess what happened this year? That's exactly what happened.
What was it? 168 three-pointers attempted?
Yeah. Ridiculous.
Obnoxious.
One thing that was new this year that I thought was actually kind of interesting was the viewers saw it. Did you guys see the new LED screen that they debuted? Scott, did you see it?
You talking about the floor?
Yeah, the court.
Yeah, it was pretty cool. One thing I did hate was during the three-point contest, everything was so green. It was too much. I understand it's Sprite, so you gotta do that green whole out. Thing where, yeah, the green and yellow, but it's cool that they can do that, but they just went too intense with it.
Yeah, I saw like pictures of the court and everything. It looked pretty cool until I saw like video footage of it and everything, and it looked a little too bright because they dimmed the lights, right? They dimmed the lights and let the court kind of shine. I didn't think that was the best idea because I'm sure that probably bothered some of the players' like eyes on the court. And when they're doing like skill competition or a dunk contest or anything, like for just basketball in general, you kind of need to see what you're doing. So the concept was cool, but the final product I don't think was very well thought out. And it just seems like they're taking like ideas from like NBA 2K at this point.
Can you guys see it like being introduced more down the line? You know what I mean? Could you see it having more involvement in regular games like the finals or, you know, regular home games for your teams? Like, you know how we had the in-season courts? Could we see potentially arenas around the league switch to an LCD court and, you know, flip between the courts? You know what I mean? Just to add a little bit more diversity.
I mean, I think it would be cool if like part of the court was like LCD, not the entire court.
I can see that.
I don't know how they would do that or what part of it, but like, you know, like that's what they should have done in the first place. Like test the waters before you go all in.
Like I could, like you're talking like maybe just like, what is it, the outside?
Or like just do like maybe like the 3-point line is LED or just like the paint area is like LED or something. I don't know.
Yeah. That makes sense. Scott, what do you got?
I could see them like putting it out in the playoffs where they'll have like the score or the time on the court, or possibly like Dan said, the 3-point line, and use it more for like review status where you shoot a 3, it's going to show you where they're standing or just out of bounds, things like that. But it's Adam Silver's just looking for random things to do, and I think he's just went a little too far with that.
Yeah, I like that. I like that idea of using it to test if your feet were behind the line or not. That's actually a really good idea. Yeah, so it's something new. Obviously, it's an inaugural edition, so we'll see if they tinker with it and bring it back next year. But there was also another new feature this year for All-Star Weekend, and that was the Steph versus Sabrina 3-point contest. Now, Scott, you did watch this. What did you think about this? Is it good for the All-Star Weekend? Could you see it be back? What are your thoughts?
That was the only thing I actually wanted to see All-Star Weekend. I kind of enjoy watching WNBA games. I watch them randomly throughout the year. I'm glad Sabrina showed up, because if she didn't show up, that would have been so terrible for the WNBA. And now you're actually getting people talking about it next year. They're like, oh, let's bring Caitlin Clark in here. Let's get 2 people doing it. What they really should do, why don't they put Caitlin Clark, why don't they put Sabrina in the 3-point contest? She got the same exact thing as Dame did.
Damian.
Yeah, there was like 3 players that got 26. She got the same thing. Why not put her in it with her? Why not put Caitlin Clark? Why not put the best 3-point shooters from the WNBA, best from the NBA, and let them go at it?
Yeah, that's a really solid idea. Dan, I know you didn't watch it, but just from the highlights you watched, what did you think about it? How's it going to impact the All-Star Weekend going forward?
I heard about that the most simply because everyone seemed to like it. I thought it was a brilliant idea, and I'm 100% with Scott on saying that they should keep doing that. Bring in other WNBA players for the 3-point contest, because those women, they can hoop. They're for real. Anyone on Twitter that thinks that they can go one-on-one with any of those girls, I guarantee you cannot.
Yeah, I agree. I think that it's an incredible gesture to the WNBA, try to get them a little bit more publicity, because like you said, these women can shoot, they can play ball. Just because, you know, they can't dunk or do all the flashy thing like in the NBA doesn't mean that the games are dull. Some of those games are very fun to watch. So like you guys said, I think it'll be back. I think that Caitlin Clark, she's got some buckets, man. I think, didn't she just set the school's record, or was it the NCAA record?
She set the NCAA record, and that was, she needed like 20 points, and she did it in the first half and then ended up with like 40.
Oh, my God.
And she,
oh, my God.
Yeah, and she broke the record by hitting like a logo 3. So that's just how she is. Speaking of Caitlin Clark, one of the guys in one of my wife's Discords is actually working the University of Indiana Iowa game tonight, and he was talking about it was 5 o'clock and the place is sold out and people are like waiting to get into a game that doesn't start for 3 hours. So she's bringing the hype to women's basketball. So she's going to be a huge draw if she's part of the All-Star weekend.
You can only anticipate that same hype is going to transcend itself into the WNBA. And who knows, hopefully Chicago Sky can find a way to bring her to Chicago. We could use some winning basketball in Chicago.
Yeah, we just need some winning in Chicago.
Speaking of shooting the long ball, the NBA three-point contest, the regular NBA, it had some stars in there, guys. I mean, we had some stars. The finals came down to what? Damian, Big Cat, and Trae Young, with Damian Lillard winning. What did you guys think about the three-point?
Karl-Anthony Towns was in it?
Yeah.
He's a great 3-point shooter.
Yeah, he's a tremendous three-point shooter.
Honestly, I didn't know I couldn't see him doing that.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, Cat, he's a really good 3-point shooter, but it's cool. I hate the special rack where you can get more, if you hit from a certain rack, you get more points or whatever like that. Just do it just normal balls. Quit trying to make it fancy like that. And then there's those 2 extra ones that are worth like 3 or something like that. But I was really rooting for Bulls legend Laurie, but he got out first round. I think he missed like one too many. He was like 25 or 24. So kind of sucks he got out first round, but it was fun.
Yeah, Dan, what did you think of the three-point contest? I know you didn't watch it.
I didn't watch it. It usually is like my favorite part of All-Star Weekend, like up until Scott said all like the quote unquote like money ball racks and all that jazz. Like, just let them shoot. Let's see who's the best. Don't throw in all these bonus.
Yeah, I'm with you. I'll be honest with you. The three-point competition was my favorite part of the All-Star Weekend growing up as a kid. And it started back to when I watched the 1988 three-point competition with Larry Bird beating out, I think it was either Detlef Schrempf or Dale Ellis, one of those two. Anyway, I liked it when it was, you get 5 racks, 4 regular balls, and 1 money ball. That's it. Nothing spectacular. And even that money ball being worth 2 points is edge enough. You know what I mean? Now, like you guys said, they're adding that, what was it, 2 racks by halfway between center court and the 3-point line. It used to be, I think there was one year where there was a full rack of money balls. I mean,
that's what they do this year is they have the 2 by the top of the key or whatever top, and then you get to choose which rack is your money ball rack.
Yeah, as soon as they started doing that, because they've done that in years past too. That's when I kind of was just like, you're doing too much. You're trying too hard to make just pure talent better than what it is,
I mean, honestly speaking, that was in my opinion, obviously, that was the only aspect of All-Star Weekend that really didn't need to be changed because it could never get dull. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It always had big names. I mean, you always had big names shooting the 3 ball. You know what I mean? There's very limited to no risk of getting injured. So obviously there was a high participation in that event, but then they started getting too crazy with it because they saw, I don't know if they either saw the ratings to the overall weekend start to slip, so maybe they introduced something new, whatever the case may be.
It was probably ratings that day for the weekend, They're
Yeah.
like, what can we do to boost ratings for Saturday?
Yeah. And you got to think a lot of people who watch the All-Star Weekend are probably like us. You know what I mean? We only watch it if there's something that grabs you. And this year there was nothing that really grabbed us outside of that Steph event and maybe the 3-point contest. So you guys agree it should go back to the basics then?
Yeah. Keep it simple.
Yeah. Scott, back to the basics.
Yeah, it's kind of cool that they did that, but not really. I would much rather have them, like you said, maybe they have 1 money ball or the last one is a money ball or something like that. But you don't need a full rack of it. You don't need those 2 extra shots that...
It's like either you can shoot or you can't. Like,
Yeah.
That's the whole point of this competition.
Right. Well, the next event actually takes us into our first fan poll that we released on Twitter. We asked all the fans, how was the dunk contest this year? It was not so great. And I think the other one was they didn't watch it. And a lot of people voted that the dunk contest was And I'm sure you guys probably agree with that. But Scott, what was your thought on the dunk contest this year?
I immediately turned it off before the dunk contest. Like, the 3-point contest ended, shut it off, did not care. I did see the highlights, and Mac McClung, when he do the ball where he threw it up, caught it, and then threw it backwards. Cool dunk. Jaylen Brown is a joke, and I'm so glad the fans booed him, because how are you going to do a dunk over, like, a 5'2" guy and then pretend... I don't know. First of all, I don't know who he is.
I'm just saying he's 4 foot and he's sitting down.
Oh yeah. So there's that, and then he pretended like he wasn't looking. Like, what a stupid dunk. The judges were terrible too. I just don't understand it. But again, The fans booed Jaylen Brown the next day because it was so bad and he shouldn't have been there.
I'm gonna defend Jaylen Brown real quick.
Okay, go for it.
No, go finish.
Oh, yeah, they asked him if he wants to be in the dunk contest next year, and he's like, yeah, I'll do it if no one else wants to do it. And that's kind of a bad statement is, well, I'll do it just because no one else wants to be there.
Well, okay, this brings up two things for me. One, yeah, Jaylen Brown's dunks were kind of trash, but still, like, he was the hottest name on that list because no other star ever joins the dunk contest, and there's only one person to blame for that, and his name is LeBron James.
I wouldn't. Yes, it is LeBron James, but also after Jordan retired, it kind of did. Kobe do it? Like, how many times did Kobe do it? Yeah, how many times?
Kobe did it. Vince, I think once.
Yeah, Vince and Kobe. But after that, there wasn't
Tracy McGrady.
There really wasn't that many big stars. Like, I did say LeBron ruined it, which he did because after that, no stars did it. But it really
it gave everyone else a pass to say no.
The 90s, a lot of people just stopped caring.
Yeah.
Yeah, probably the best one since, I mean, obviously your Vince Carter and your Jason Richardson. You know, there was that big gap, and then there was the infamous Aaron Gordon and Zach LaVine one. Oh, my God. Which, real quick, did Aaron Gordon or Zach LaVine win that? I don't want any bias towards Zach LaVine as on the Bulls and what you feel about him.
Are you saying, like, how it went down that night, or are you saying, like, in our personal opinions?
Like, in your personal opinion, do you think that Zach LaVine won that, or do you think Aaron Gordon was better?
Honestly, I would have been fine if they were just like, this is the first ever tie in the dunk contest, because both those guys just, oh my God, that was
tie?
Dude, I would not care. I wouldn't care.
Tie?
Dude, I feel like it would be justifiable. Like,
okay.
Like, they both threw down great dunks, all first tries. Like, oh my God, like the dunk contest hasn't been that good since Vince Carter.
I agree.
Hey, DeRozan threw down some nasty dunks, and he got screwed several times.
Yeah, DeRozan got robbed.
That was the whole Blake Griffin thing where...
That Blake Griffin dunk was stupid.
Well, he ruined it. He started dunking over a car, and now everybody's like, oh, I got to dunk over weird stuff. And now it's like...
He dunked over the hood.
Yeah, but that's the point, is like, no one's doing anything new. Everything we're seeing, we've already seen.
Well, that's why they're throwing in props and, like, you know, all the assists, dunks, and all that jazz now, because all the dunks have already been done. Like, guess what, Bulls fans? Michael Jordan wasn't the first person to dunk from the free throw line. It was Dr. J. There's your little history check with Dan.
Yeah, but I mean, the thing is, it used to be good because it was just people showing off how well they could dunk. Now it's become a matter of what can I dunk over? I never really was starstruck by an NBA player jumping over somebody because we know they got hops. Half the time when they're jumping over somebody, they're using their hand to propel over the guy.
Well, also,
people. You know what I mean?
Obi Toppin's like brother or something jumped over Obi.
See, that's cool. Stuff like that is cool
because, you know, Obi's tall and his brother's not. So I mean,
but I mean, like the props, like the did you see where I forgot who it was, but somebody blew out the birthday candle?
Oh, that was
it Jeremy Evans?
No, I think it was Gerald Green.
One of them. It's like, what are you doing? Like, how is that?
Hey, that was still pretty sick. Just so you know how high that dude can actually jump. Like,
oh yeah, I suppose
the car was stupid. Blake, sorry, the car was dumb.
I'm gonna quote my boy Sean Kemp, and I hear he jumped over the hood of a car, and I'm wondering if it's because of Kia was like the sponsor of the All-Star game that year.
Official car of the NBA.
Yeah, and it's a nice car overall. Side note, okay, get yourself a Kia, ladies and gentlemen.
Back in the day when we were like 16, those are cheap cars.
Hey, the Telluride's nice now.
It is. Did you guys? I mean, even like the Stinger is really nice.
Topic, guys. This is not a cars podcast.
Okay. All right. Drawing it back in, like they alluded to earlier, Matt McClung took back-to-back champions. I don't know. Again, it's hard for me to gauge how good the dunk contest was when you approach it in such a negative mentality, because I think, you know that saying, there's more than one way to skin a cat? I think with the dunk contest, they finally reached the point where they've skinned the cat every which way you can skin it, and it's just not entertaining anymore. Like we said earlier, we're just seeing a bunch of repeat dunks. We're seeing people dunking over random things, random people. You know what I mean? And it is what it is. I mean, I think the dunk contest is a dying breed, and I really don't think there's any way to salvage it.
Can I say something about that real quick?
You sure can.
So I agree with what you said with the dunk contest dying and everything. I think so. Clearly, the NBA needs to just revamp and just restructure how the dunk contest works. I was listening to ESPN the other day, and it was one of the rare times.
I'm sorry to hear that.
It was one of the very rare times I 100% agreed with what Stephen A. was saying. He was saying that none of the basketball players are gonna be dunking in the dunk contest. What his plan is from each city, get like the scouts out and look for like dunkers in the streets, and then do it like a dunk competition that way. Narrow it down to like 5, bring those guys into the All-Star dunk contest. Instead of the players dunking, have the players sponsor the dunker. That way it's still, All-Star participation. You get, like, LeBron will get his, his little participation trophy. Yes. Oh my God. Sorry, I got caught up in my own head. And then, like, the first place winner would get, like, $1 million. Second place, $500,000. Third place, $1,000. Because that way, regular guys will for sure come up with the really crazy creative dunks. And if money's on the line, they're going to go hard and they're going to compete for it. So I'm down for that idea. I mean, the NBA needs to do something to fix this because it's turned into a joke.
It is a joke, yeah. Scott, what do you think?
Well, you do win money for the dunk contest.
Oh, I didn't know that. Well,
yeah.
Blame Stephen A. Don't blame me.
I think $100,000, and I think
the player does
part of the reason. Yeah, whoever wins it.
Jeez,
but
stop giving these players money. They already have so much.
Think about it. Mac McClung is in the G League. How much is he really making? So
true.
That $100,000 is probably close to his yearly salary, or he may be maybe more than his yearly salary. So it's a good reason for him to try.
Yeah.
If you're getting dunkers off the street, same thing. $100,000 is a lot for just a street baller.
That's what I'm saying. And that's third place. Like,
that's first place.
Yeah. No. I honestly, I'm glad you mentioned the money aspect, because unfortunately, with all these big name players being afraid to injure themselves because they carry such a big purse in their regular contract, their sponsors, what have you, there's really no way of getting big names to get involved. Because let's say you take a LeBron James and you say, okay, if you win, the dunk contest, you win a $5 million purse. You know what I mean? Is that going to be worth LeBron James? I mean, earlier, obviously not 39-year-old LeBron James, but is that going to be worth a LeBron James going up for a dunk, landing awkwardly, tearing something, and losing endorsements and hindering himself from getting another contract? You know what I mean? Would that be worth it to him? I don't particularly see that. So, in my opinion, there really is no way to bring big names back except just wanting to do it, like getting that street cred back up for the dunk contest. So as soon as the NBA can establish a way to get the street cred up for the dunk contest again, then you will start seeing big names jump back in. But until then, we're just going to have to deal with this mediocrity year in and year out. I mean, you guys agree with that?
Yeah. Until they fix it, it's just going to be a shit show after shit show.
Yeah. Moving on to the actual game.
So can we actually jump back? I want to talk about that skills competition.
Oh yeah.
Let's see.
First of all, Scotty Barnes is never going to beat the allegations that he's not autistic.
Oh my God.
No, that's a thing.
I know.
Like, he literally he went the wrong way when dribbling. Like, there's lines on the floor telling him which way to go, and he went the wrong way. he took a backwards half court shot. The whole thing was just a mess. I think like 2 or 3 people went the wrong way when trying to dribble around. Anthony Edwards was shooting with his left hand, which if you guys saw,
he said he was going to do that.
Yeah, he did say he was going to do that.
Victor was pissed. He literally, when they were done, he just would not talk to him or high five him or anything. He was so mad.
Victor
Wembanyama.
Okay. Yeah. They were on the same team. Him, Anthony Edwards, and Paolo. he was pissed.
Oh, they do
about
teams
that.
now?
Yeah,
Yeah.
there was 3 teams.
They
Oh,
did
jeez.
that last season or last year too.
I like the teams.
Yeah, the teams aren't bad.
What was it? The passing one, like players were like falling down and stuff. It was stupid. The skills competition was awful.
Well, also I saw that like when Giannis back when Giannis did the skills, the ring for the passing was really small, and now it's huge. Like you could just randomly toss a ball in that general direction, and it will probably go through the ring. So
Yes.
I'm just like, they get a little challenging for these guys. I mean, they're professional basketball players, for crying out loud.
Yeah, I'll be honest with you. I had no interest in watching the skills challenge because outside of when like Derrick Rose and Kyrie were doing it, it's just been garbage.
Yeah. I mean, it's been decent. It's better than the dunk contest. It's better than the actual All-Star game.
Yeah,
I've
that's
never
true.
once seen a celebrity game ever in my entire life.
Really?
Yeah, I've seen like highlights,
Oh.
but I've never sat down and was like, oh, let's see how I would do if I was out on the court. I know it's gonna be terrible.
on.
It's like comedic to the fans.
You didn't watch the year where Bears defensive tackle Anthony Spice Adams dressed up like all ridiculous, then was like crossing people up, and then goes up to take a jump shot, and Quentin Richardson just blocks the shit out of his shot and just shoves him to the ground. That was like the best thing ever.
I've never sat down and watched the celebrity game. I've seen clips of the celebrity game, but I've never sat down and was like, all right, let's start the All-Star weekend by watching some celebrities pretend to play basketball. Like, granted, some of them can hoop, but majority of them, like...
Yeah, like J. Cole. J. Cole can ball.
J. Cole's legit.
Yeah, I had man, I wish I could tell the story I have about Anthony Adams, but I can't. But I have seen him personally. I talked to him about that. And even Anthony Adams was like, he ruined that moment for me. He fouled me and ruined that moment for me. Side note, Anthony Adams is freaking awesome in real life. He's a great guy.
Nice.
But yeah, moving on to the actual game now. The East took home a victory, scoring a record-breaking 200 points
obnoxious.
in one 12-minute quarter NBA basketball game. 200
It's
points.
the first time ever that they've reached 200 points.
First time ever, a combined score of almost 400 points. And as Dan mentioned earlier, that was with taking and attempting 168 three-point attempts.
Yes, sir.
Guys, what the hell is wrong with the All-Star game? What are you guys' thoughts on the All-Star game this year? I know, Dan, you didn't watch it, but Scott, what do you think about it?
I didn't watch it either because I didn't care. They don't play defense. I did think it was hilarious that Luka, he's just out there messing around, and he like live tweeted during the game
Yeah.
after he took like a tooth quarter shot.
Yeah, it was
a court shot. Yeah, but it's stupid. Also, Cat had like 50 points and he didn't win MVP because his team lost.
Yeah, I thought when I saw like the stats and everything, I thought that Cat got robbed.
Yeah, I will say that Cat was like one of the only ones out there like actually balling, and he was killing it, and he got snubbed just because the West lost. I agree. Dan, I know you didn't watch it. You gonna watch it next year?
Probably not. I mean, honestly, unless they do something, because like the only time I've like missed the game and was upset about it was when I think it was the first year that they had like something on the line. I forgot. Was it like a charity or something? And like they actually played defense, and you could tell like the players on the court were like really into it. Like I was upset I missed that one. But yeah, 9 times out of 10, like it's just the players just horse assing around on the court because they don't care.
I'm glad you mentioned that because I watched the game from start to finish just because it was Sunday. I was home and I had nothing else to do. So I threw on the NBA All-Star game, and it's exactly what it was. It was grown men joking around, hoisting up threes, you know, and here's the thing. If that's what they want the All-Star game to be, then cool, so be it. Let them have that. Let them have that game where they just go joke around, hang out with their friends.
Like, is that what the fans want though? Like people are paying like good ass money to come to this event, and you're just witnessing as great as it is to see the bromance between Joker and Luka.
Yes, that was entertaining. They took the ball up the court and lobbed it to each other without a single dribble.
But still, I wouldn't pay
ridiculous.
$1,000 a ticket to see that kind of antics on the court. Like, get out of here. I paid good money. I want to see you play.
At that point, you're paying for like the experience, the ambiance, to be amongst celebrity, to be amongst every single All-Star in the NBA under one roof. But like you mentioned earlier, the NBA needs to determine, is this a fan-based event or is this a player-based event? And what I mean by that is, are we catering to the players and rewarding the players by letting them just have fun? Or are we still trying to generate revenue through the fans? And I think when they finally determine what they want, I know they're trying to do a little bit of both, but if they just pick one avenue and go with it, I think they'll have a little bit more success.
My thing is that if it's for the players, then just don't do it. Just don't do an all-star game. Just let them rest. Because if that's what they want, then just let them just get rid of All-Star Weekend.
I mean, that's fair.
I'm just more amazed that there's so much hype for who's going to be an all-star, for such a shitty event.
Right.
Like, we literally talk about it for 2 months, and it's like, oh, I didn't even watch it. I don't even care. It's really a thing to have on your resume more than it is to be part of the event.
No, that's a good point. Because it's bragging rights and used in trade. Because like we said in this podcast earlier, Zach LaVine is a 2-time All-Star, and that's why his trade value is a little higher.
Man, but like, you
know what I mean?
I'm getting to the point where being an All-Star don't mean shit. Like, yeah, you're an All-Star like 2 years ago. What have you done for me lately? Kind of situation.
It's pretty much like that now. I mean, honestly, like Scott said, what are you getting voted for? You're getting voted in for an event that nobody cares about. I mean, it's a resume booster. That's all it is.
I think it would be interesting, instead of putting the best of the best out there in the court, put out the worst players on the court and let them play.
Well, that'll take a toll on the old self-esteem. Hey, no. You suck. You're going to go out there. Who's the suckiest of the suck?
Well, I mean, because we've seen all these great players play. Let's see some bad players out there. Like, throw out Thanasis out there and see what you can do. Put half the Pistons out there. See what they can actually do.
I won a trophy. Yes, you did. Yeah, Good for you. Good job.
I mean, it's something. I mean, I don't see Adam Silver coming up with anything better.
I need to send him your phone number. You got some ideas to share with Mr. Adams.
Call me, Adam.
All right, so that takes us into our final fan poll question, and it was, should winning the All-Star game give the winning team or winning conference home court advantage in the finals? And our fans voted, and the fans decided yes. But what do you guys think? Do you think it would matter? Do you think they should? Would it give it a little bit more to fight for? What are your guys' thoughts? Go ahead, Scott.
Yeah, right now, who cares? There's no reason for them to do it, but we've kind of touched on this a little bit during the Bloody Horns episode, which, like, LeBron James does not care, will not care. His team's not going to make the finals, so why should he try? It's really going to be the players like Tatum or Jaylen Brown or
Joker or
yeah,
Luka.
Just like players that are going to actually have a chance to make the finals. They're going to care. The other people that may care are like first or second time All-Stars. Like, I feel like Halliburton cared because he was just there having a good time. He's young enough to still enjoy it. A lot of these players that are like several time All-Stars, they absolutely do not care.
Maybe, going back to what they could do differently for the All-Star game is maybe don't have any more like repeat All-Stars. All right, LeBron, like you had, or like Halliburton. All right, you were an All-Star last year. Like you can't be this year. Maybe you can do like every other year or something. I don't know. Just keep it fresh that way. I'm just spitballing ideas.
Yeah, no. I get it. No, it's a very valid point. But I'm with Scott. I mean, I don't think it would matter at that much at all, because like you said, you'll have like 5 or 6 guys out there who, let's just face it. You should know at the beginning of the season if your team is going to contend to win a championship, and you know that you're a team that's in the rebuild or not quite there. So again, you're going to have the same 6 players who play for those contending teams try, but then you're going to have the rest of the team not trying at all, and it's not going to matter. I mean, they may play better for one or 2 years, but I don't think so. In my personal opinion, the only way to make the All-Star game better is to add more revenue to it. No, pay them more. You know what I mean? You pay them more. You give them more incentive to make the All-Star game. But once you make it to the All-Star game, you get a purse. You know what I mean? Fork over the dough.
Maybe. I don't know. I have no idea what they can do to improve it. It's just
take the fan voting away.
Yeah, they should do that.
Stop letting fans vote people in.
Who was that player that almost made it and he wasn't good? Like Zaza.
Zaza Pachulia.
Yeah.
He almost was a starter.
What?
Yeah, because
Yeah, Zaza Pachulia was almost a starter.
his home country was just like
It's Tracy McGrady made it playing 5 games. Kobe Bryant made it his last year. Michael Jordan made it his last year. They weren't good.
didn't Magic
it's a
go
popularity
in and he didn't
contest.
even play that year?
Yeah, it's like, but that's taking away from someone else that should be in it.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
it's stupid. It's stop letting the fans vote. Let the coaches and players vote. You can't
That's a
just
great
give
point.
someone an all-star appearance just because
You like them.
they were a star at one point. Like, if they're not playing good, don't let them be there. Like, invite them to the weekend, but they should not be in the game.
Was there anyone in the All-Star selection that you think that shouldn't have been there?
Not really. I mean, in my opinion, I think everyone that was there
Deserved to be there.
deserved it. Yeah. I mean, like Scott kind of said, there was times where people would make it and they didn't play. We just saw that the NBA changed the rule about, I mean, we're witnessing it now. Joel Embiid is having an absolutely phenomenal season, and he's disqualified from the MVP race because he didn't play 65 games. They need to institute something like that for the All-Star game, to where if you didn't play, 40 games, to the All-Star game, if you didn't play 60% of those games, you don't make it. You know what I mean? I agree. Take the fan voting out. In my opinion, you should, separate it again by guards, by position, guards, point guard, what have you. Take the top 5 players at that position, and if you're in the top 5 by numbers based, take voting out, whatever, numbers based. If you're in that top 5, you're in. You know what I mean? Gives players something more to play for.
Or, okay, I keep thinking of different ideas. I'm sorry, guys. I have another idea. What if they did like a series of like one-on-one tournaments? Like, what if you saw like Tatum go up against like Brown one-on-one? And then then they advance to like, and then there's like a finals, and it's going to be like Tatum versus like LeBron or something, one-on-one to see who really is the king or something.
Yeah. Like a king of the court style. Yeah. No. Yeah. That's a great idea. What did you have, Scott?
I would love that. I think a 2-on-2 tournament would be more realistic. I don't think these players are going to want to go one-on-one against each other.
Yeah.
We'll see what they do. They need to change something. The game's bullshit. No one cares about it. The players don't care about it. Adam Silver is just floundering. He just keeps coming up with these ideas, and it's not working. So they need to change something. But just think, Luka and Joker on the same team against like LeBron and AD. That would be fun to watch.
Yeah,
that would be entertaining. Do you guys wait before we move on? Do you guys remember when they had horse as an event?
They did that on Friday.
Oh, they did. Wait, they still have that?
Yeah, but it was like a joke one because again, Luka and Joker were just screwing with each other and trying to hit their balls away. Like no one takes it seriously, because why should they? They're there to have fun.
Yeah.
Could you imagine those two on an actual NBA team in the regular season?
I mean,
I hope we get to see it.
I feel like we will eventually, and when we do, it's going to be done for everyone else. Like, just stay home at that point.
Yeah, like we're wishing it now, and then it actually happens, and we're like, this freaking sucks.
I would love watching it just because their skill level is just out of this world. But I would feel terrible for the other team. Every other team would just look like the current Detroit Pistons. Sorry, I will continue to throw.
Dan hates the Detroit Pistons today.
I will continue to throw shade at the Detroit Pistons all season long.
Yeah, Dan's no longer picking on geographical locations. Now he's just picking on NBA teams.
Just one specific one, Detroit. Sorry, Jay.
What did Detroit ever do?
Well, first off, I just want to say sorry to Jalen Rose real quick, because he's my guy. But, I mean, I'm sorry that the Detroit Pistons currently suck. They can be good. They could get good. But, I mean, right now, they're just straight garbage.
So drawing it all into conclusion, this year's All-Star Game, what would you give it letter grade-wise? How about that? We'll tie it all together. And if you had to go A, B, C, D, or F, what would you give the overall All-Star Game? Scott?
The game or the weekend?
The weekend itself, or, yeah.
All-Star image in its entirety from every event.
The entire weekend. Friday
to Saturday, or Sunday, rather.
D.
D?
Yeah.
Okay.
Like, I cared about 3 events. So about 2 hours worth of the whole weekend I actually watched and actually paid attention to.
Okay.
So
there you have it.
D.
Scotty B giving the All-Star the D.
Okay. Jesus Christ.
Dan, what would you give it?
First, the horny X, now Scott's giving the D. I agree with Scott. I would give it probably a D as well. I mean, I didn't watch it for a reason because I had a feeling it was going to be bad, and it was bad. But yeah, I would give it a D overall because, I mean, the Sabrina Steph thing was cool, and the 3-point contest, if they just get rid of if they just tweak it, go back to basics a bit.
There you go. So Scotty B and Dan tag teaming the All-Star game with the D. I like it. All seriousness now, I'll give the All-Star weekend a solid C-. I think that it has potential. It's always got potential. It's just tweaking it until you find something that actually sticks and catches the eyes of the audience. They're starting to do that now with the Sabrina and the Steph. You know, that's something we'd never seen before. So you know that they're thinking outside the box already, and they want to get their viewers back. Unfortunately, it's not having as big as an impact as they think it was, but we'll see. You know, there's always room for improvement. We'll see how they bounce back next season, but I don't think it was bad, but I don't think it was one of their best All-Star weekends. They did change some stuff and make it, you know, entertaining to watch again. Like, I did like how they eliminated the target score and went back to 12-minute quarters. I did like the East versus West again instead of team captains, but in overall, it was a C. It was mediocre at best. Guys, you got anything before we close?
Check out our merch. We got some good stuff.
Yeah, check out our merch.
We got some good stuff.
And once again, Dan Gracie, where can they find our merch at?
Oh, they can find it at denzelrange.com.
Yeah, denzelrange.com.
That is denzelrange.com.
There you go. And while they're there and they got all that merch in their shopping cart and they're ready to check out, what promo code can they use and what will they save?
Bro, I forgot. I don't know.
What? Are you serious?
Hoops over Horns 20 or something like that.
No,
I don't know.
No, it's just Horns 20.
Horns 20. Use
Horns 20.
promo code Horns 20 and you'll get 20% off.
Thank you. My goodness. Okay.
Sorry, first timer over here.
Wow. All right, Scott, what do you got for the fans as we close?
I don't think anything. Cancel All-Star Weekend. Let's never happen again.
There you go.
Adam Silver.
Ending on a positive note.
Yeah, you're trying to get too intense.
Yeah.
Like, at certain points, it's bad that I'm like, maybe we should get David Stearns back. Like, he was doing something right.
It would be pretty hard to get David Stern back.
Oh, jeez.
But you know what I mean.
Yeah, no, for sure. David Stern's probably looking down from heaven and just shaking his head.
Oh, I completely forgot he died. Oh, shit.
Oh, yeah, bro. He died. That's how Adam Silver.
Oh, boy.
He's up there with Kobe. Kobe's probably shaking his head during the NBA contest or the dunk contest and calling everyone soft.
Yeah. Wow. What a risque episode of the Horns Over Hoops podcast, ladies and gentlemen. That ends this episode of the Horns Over Hoops podcast. We thank all you guys for tuning in and listening. We have some special news to report that our podcast has partnered with the Fans First Sport Network. So head over to their page, show us some love. We appreciate them, and thank you so much to them for partnering with us. It's kind of a dream come true. We have 3 friends that came together and
made something out of
nothing. This for a living.
Yes, sir.
Made something out of nothing. You know, everyone wants to talk sports. So we thank them for sponsoring us. Like Dan said, head over to our merch page. We got some really cool gear there. Take a picture of it and post it to Twitter with hashtag Horniac.
And
hashtag.
Use the promo code Horns20.
Yeah. And who knows? Yeah, you finally learned the promo code. There you go. And who knows? Maybe we'll select one of those pictures at random and enter them into for a giveaway. Who knows? We'll revisit that later. So thank you once again for listening. Follow us on our Twitters. And even though this was an all-star edition of the Horns Over Hoops podcast, we encourage our Horniacs to see red and go Bulls. Good night, everybody.